Alright, are we recording? Wunderbar. So, I figured that the game is not complicated enough in terms of precise inputs that we don't actually need to have a tutorial that has me go through and play the game. I'm just going to commentate over this, pause where necessary, and we're just going to go from there. So this is the current state of the world record. I have a 4257. And this is me. Hello. There's no description. I forgot a description. That's okay. But we're just going to go right into it because this can be fairly complicated. I have no sound. 1 second. Yeah, hello, sound? Oh yeah, this is... Aha, sound. No Gefai. It's really quiet. Crank that up, I guess. Alright, so just right out the gate, we're starting off with the timer starts off at negative 23.2 seconds using the auto splitter. So if you do that, make sure you're holding forward while she's speaking. What are those voices? As you hold forward, that way you'll move as soon as you possibly can. And now in this instance, it's just swimming through this section. There's no real... Sorry, I don't have my controls. There we go, keyboard controls. So you're literally just swimming. Hold on, I don't know keyboard shortcuts. Is it possible to change the playback speed in some instances? What if I just do this? Like boom. Then crank it back down to 1. I don't know how that works. Anyway, we are in a cutscene. You can't do anything. You're just standing there, having a good time. In this room, you don't actually have sprint, so holding shift while doing anything is wholly unnecessary. He's going to say, we'll be lowering the motorboat in just a minute. Or we'll be lowering the boat. Yeah, something like that. You stand up, hold forward and left so that as soon as you move, you can move your camera over. And then pick up the 3 books. Or 3 items, I guess. The first one is the book on the left, and the middle one is the gloves. You're just trying to get that as soon as you possibly can. And then the final one is going to be the, well, I guess the 3 items in the trunk. And there is a bit of an optimization here that I can go over really briefly. So what I like to do is I like to drag up on this and down on this. That's what you're going to notice. And what that does is it just sort of keeps your mouse on the mouse pad. So if you drag up, it's near the top of the mouse pad. Drag down, it's going towards the middle. Once more. And then you right click before you left click this. And you'll see that in full speed here. Right click and then left click this. Because what that does is this little cursor here is going to turn back into your regular crosshair sooner, and you can actually move to look before you are originally able to, and you can pick these up faster. So once you go ahead and grab those, the next step is right here. It's a save and load. I'm going to pause so that I can explain it briefly. What the save and load does is you load in on a black screen. There's about a second after you load your first save, and I'll let this load play out. There's about a second after you load your first save where you're in a black screen. You can go ahead and interact with the door and load any extra save, and what that does is it actually reloads the entire level, and I'm not entirely sure why that is. There's some sort of like save load corruption thing happening, but if you double load a save, it restarts to the beginning of the chapter. However, because we're clicking the door, we're interacting with the end of the prologue. When we're in that nebulous time where we want to reset to the beginning of the chapter, it actually reads that as loading into the next chapter. And if you go to chapter select, you'll notice that chapter 1 actually doesn't start on the boat. That's just a cutscene. So chapter 1 actually starts on the beach. So you're going to skip that 2 minutes in the intro, and you can see that down here. This is in the way a little bit, but the PB time is at 3 minutes and 53 seconds. So that was my previous best. Because I found this and then did this run. So yeah, that's going to be saving about 2 minutes there. Maybe 3 minutes. How much was it? Oh, is it like a 3-minute time save? Yeah. Okay. So, by the way, you start off with sprint, so you don't have to worry about like waiting to be able to sprint or anything. You can just sprint right off the bat. This next bit is going through this door. So, my personal theory, I don't know if this actually matters, so feel free to tune me out here, but my personal theory is that this is an entity, which means that when it's loading in, it is one of the last things to load in. First, it's got to render all of the invisible walls and all the scenery, and then it's got this singular door here. So if you save and load and walk through that section in that black screen like we were doing before, with interacting with the door, this time you're just holding a direction, then it's not there to actually stop you while everything is loading in. So, what we do is we actually... I'm going to see if I can use slowdown. So you're going to click on this to get an autosave, because what it does is that little eyeball, the inspection thing, is like, it jots a note down in the journal, and it goes, oh, hey, there's something missing here. And because that creates an autosave, we could just load that in. And as soon as you press load, you hold left, and then as soon as the black screen shows up, that means your character's moving, which means holding down shift to sprint is not going to actually cut off the, it's going to activate the sprint. You'll notice there are some times when, like, if you're holding down shift and you're not sprinting, you just got to retap that. But that is the first trick of the run in Chapter 1. So actually the second trick. And then this, we'll get to the solution really quick. So this is the solution here. If you're looking to swipe a direction, swipe twice left, swipe once left, twice right, 3 times left. And then you're going to press the button and wait for her to finish the line saying, guess I hit the jackpot. After she finishes saying that, there will be an autosave, essentially, where you can go ahead, pause the game, load an autosave, like so, and then you're going to walk in the darkness. So when your mouse disappears, then you can start holding directions. Sometimes the strafe keys don't actually work if you hold them too early, and only like one of the directions will actually work. But the way you navigate is actually by using the detection crosshair. So you saw it before. When you load in, you can watch as this crosshair is here, and then you hold forward and left until that disappears off the screen, and then you hold forward and right. My bad. You hold forward and right in the black screen, and then as soon as the crosshair fully disappears off the screen, you switch to holding forward and left, all the while sprinting. And it's going to put you on the bridge in the fastest way possible. Now, you could wait and just let the bridge fall without loading a save. It's going to lose you a few seconds, though, so it is faster to go ahead and load that save. But now you just run to the end and go ahead and finish. I'm really bad at speaking, by the way. I, use half of the oxygen in my lungs, and then I feel exhausted. Alright, this was also a new development. I shouldn't say that, because everything except for, the Out of Bounds in Chapter 5 is a new development. Anyway, Chapter 2. We don't actually do the whole collect the stone thing to raise the elevator. Instead, what we do is we run over to the elevator shaft where this would appear, and we load up, we make a save and load it up. And what that does is it kind of creates this weird state where it thinks you can interact with the buttons, except only if you flick your camera at it. I don't quite understand why, but you flick your camera at it, and you're gonna, let me go back so that you can see. You're gonna want to press the top the top button here. So you don't click the bottom cog, you click the top one up there. It's gonna press that button and raise it up for you. So you don't actually have to solve any puzzle or anything like that. You just go right on up. Let me get into a more comfortable position. Maybe that's the issue. God, I suck at public speaking. Alright, down we go. This is quite literally just like a lot of waiting at this point. Can I just get 5 seconds ahead? Oh yeah, another 5. Too far. My bad. So you're going to start at the golden star here. You start at the golden star and then go on the inside, and then the outside for 3. Inside, outside. All the while, it is constantly going counterclockwise. So just remember, golden star, inside, inside, outside, 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 inside, outside. Or just get a feel for it. It's pretty easy to sort of remember it. And worst case scenario, if you stop playing the game for a while or you can't remember it, we're what, like 5 minutes into the run? Not too terrible to just go ahead and look something up real quick. Or you can draw a diagram. But yeah, that's the solution, and now we have a lot of waiting to do. Oh, I'm so glad I've decided to commentate over a video instead. Alright, here you're going to hold forward and sprint while you fall, and then also look up so that you're going straight. It's just going to get you forward faster. And then you just swim to the end. It's literally like there's no possible deviation. There's one route that you can take. So you just keep swimming that, and then you look directly into the center of this guy's eyes. It's going to become a cutscene, and then you stand up, and this is Chapter 3. Sorry, I am going through it kind of quickly, but for the most part, it is just a lot of walking. Like, for instance, this. You turn to the right, and you walk. So what you're going to do here is you're actually going to go in between the boat and the rocks here, because why not, I guess? The boat has a lot smaller of a hitbox than you'd expect, so you can really cut that corner tightly. And then you're going to come along this way. There might be a lag spike as things load up. You could see it there. My game started a little bit. It's just entities spawning in on the other side. So I don't really know if there's anything to do about that. But yeah. Now you're going up. You're going to go up and to the left. Alright, to the left here. And this is... Hiccup, excuse me. Whew. So this is a puzzle that you need to solve. The route that I take here is what I think is the fastest route. Alternatively, you could sort of figure out what you need to figure out. But it's going to be the same things pressed. It's just like the order in which you press them. It doesn't really matter. But if you find something faster, feel free to do that instead. So we're going to press this first one over here. We're going to open that up. And then we're going to head to the right. And we have to press on... we have to close this one and open one down on the stairs. What I do is I actually take the one on the stairs first so that I can cut a tighter line over to this one. It just feels more natural to me. If you want to press this one first, you can go ahead and do that. But I'm going to go ahead and take this line over here. Barely getting around that invisible wall where, like right over here. How do I go back little by little? This feels reasonable. So along the side here, down to about 3 or 4 steps, there's going to be no invisible wall, but any further, like over here, there is. So just make sure you really get around that, because you could be stopped there. That was just something that I wanted to note. But now you go up, close this, and keep going. This middle bit has to be pressed twice, so we go ahead and take that the first time here, open the panel over there, and then we're going to take down the stairs here, head to the right, and there was the invisible wall that I was talking about. Click on that one, and then click on this one. Once more with this, and then you can go ahead and press the button. So what I did there, it was a little bit fast, but you press the button, if you could hear just before it loaded in, or just before the load started, there was like an organ sound. Listen for it. Right there was. So what that does, the organ sound indicates that you've actually gone and completed the puzzle correctly, and it's going to raise some, like a walking path, basically. Except loading, the autosave actually fully does that for you, instead of having to wait for it. So it's just a quick time save. that I think would actually save time even if we were timing RTA. Like, it's a really long path. It's an annoying one. So then you just kind of go along here, click on this button to go up the elevator, and then what I like to do is I like to get to the side of this. What you could do is you could stand in front of it. It doesn't really make a difference all too much, but the end goal is to take that same path that rose the first time. It's going to rise once more once we press all the 4 buttons. And we just want to get down that as fast as possible. So I'm positioning myself here on the right side of this, like, button thing. This panel, basically. I'm positioning myself on the right side and a little bit behind it so that I can just go forward rather than trying to get around this thing. Yep, press all the buttons. Press the 5th button. Let this thing rise. And then you just go down it. And now we're coming up on the end of Chapter 3. There is something that I will note. You'll see at the start of Chapter 4 that I get this thing where Nora goes, oh, they built all this with a beach ship? Or something like that. And I don't know how to do that consistently. Genuinely, it baffles me. But basically, if you see Nora say an extra line of dialogue, it's actually skipping a forced cutscene that costs like 2 seconds later. Which I truly don't understand. Like, genuinely, no idea why that's the case. But maybe we'll figure something out. Maybe we'll figure something out. So here you can see they built all of this. And then she speaks over herself, which makes no sense, but it's kind of funny. And also skips a cutscene. So in this, we are just walking up the path. It's a very straightforward path. As soon as you can make that U-turn, go turn around and keep going. And then you head over, keep heading down, and we're over to this panel here. So these panels are basically just a counterclockwise tile press thing. So this first one, you click on this tile right here, which is the top in this instance, or if it was upright, it would be left. And then we click, well, first we got to go up the stairs. Take a left and click on the bottom tile. And what I do here is I actually make a save. I turn around, make a save here, and keep going. What that does is it's going to, you're going to be loading it later, and I'll show why later. That one you click the right tile, and then on this one you click the top tile, and it's going to put you into a cutscene to load the, or to open the waterfall. If you just load that autosave, then you can go ahead and skip that animation or that forced cutscene, and you can just head down the stairs and head over to the gears, where there's already a fully open waterfall flowing down onto the water wheel. So this button, you're going to click on it 3 times every single time so that it moves these sort of circles to the bottom. And then once you pull that lever, once you pull the lever corresponding to each one, it'll basically put a peg in it and allow the gears to start moving. So just press it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Go for the long one. Press 3 times. Pull the lever. 3 times. Pull the lever. That was easy. And the solution here is click this one and click this one. It's pretty straightforward, except before you click the second one, right click to exit the interaction so that you can go ahead and move. So right click, left click, run over here. It's just that little extra distance that you can get. And then you flip both levers and keep going. Now, as you're going over here, basically once you start to enter this little section, this is where the force cutscene happens, where it forces you to look up and it goes, oh, they really made all this from a beached ship? Wow. But we skipped that for God knows what reason. So you go ahead and pull the lever for the electricity, like the fuse box thing on the first floor. Come out here, climb this, which takes forever because the ladders in this game are slow. And then what you're going to do is pull this lever, and you're going to go ahead and load the save that you made in front of that final lever. And the reason for this, I'm going to go ahead and pause this so that I can explain my reasoning. so that you know what's happening. You can disregard this if you want to, but basically what's happening is there are some instances in this game where if you interact with something and then load a save, the state of the thing that you're interacting with is a persistent state. So, for instance, if you were to flip the lever and then load this, you'll see the blinking red light because it indicates that the power is on, when in actuality the waterfall isn't even open in this current state of the game. And another instance of that would be in Chapter 2, where, Chapter 1, when you hit the jackpot, solve the puzzle, and then lower the bridge. Loading that state is basically saying to the bridge, it's gonna, like, complete that action, and that's a persistent state of the bridge. So that sort of thing, the saves are weird. I think that's the TLDR. Saves are weird in this game. So you're going to go ahead and do this. She's going to sing. And I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. Whew.
Let's give it a shot.
A truly beautiful melody. Alright, now we're moving on. Just run down here. And I'm going to skip through this because it's a singular path. Just cut on the inside. That's about all you need to do. Press the button, going up another elevator. And then at the top of the elevator, just to the left here, you click this one, which is, if you think of these panels as 1, 2, 3, and 4, you press 1 literally 0 times. You go to the number 2 position first, and then this right side are 3 and 4. You press them both twice. The way I like to do it is press this one once, and then I run over to this one on the very far right, press this twice, turn around and click on this once more, and that should get you into the right position. So now you go over here. What you're going to want to do is, once you come up here, you're going to double click on the first drum, because that skips one segment. And what I like to do is I like to back out because I've messed it up before. And I've, like, I don't know, drummed too hard and had to restart anyway. So I like to back out to stop that from happening. Anyway, here we go. We're continuing on. More drums. Yeah, just hit them as fast as possible. There doesn't need to be any rhythm to it. Doom, 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 doom. So this next bit is the final one. So what I do is I hit left, right, and then middle, and then I exit the interaction and hit the last 2 beats of that middle drum while I'm exiting the interaction, so that I can run over and interact with the altar or the pedestal or whatever it's called, the hand thing, while the cutscene of it being rebuilt is currently in motion. So you'll see that right here. Boom, boom, boom. And then I run over, click on this, and it does some weird funky stuff. But yeah, so then you're in the interaction and you're going through the cutscene while the device is building itself around you, which is kind of funky. But yeah, so I don't even think I explained, but yeah, we skipped the desert, like, dream sequence by loading the save for the electricity box, and then this skipped like 10 seconds of cutscene. But yeah, so that's Chapter 4. Now we're on to Chapter 5, which does have an out-of-bounds skip, which is really exciting. Thank you to, I believe his name is Ask for Alex, or their name. I don't know genders. But yes, Ask for Alex found the out-of-bounds skip, I believe, in Chapter 5. So you're just going to head up and to the left to get roughly into this direction. If you want to know what I aim at, it's always, like, just aim up left, and, like, the upper section of these rightmost, like, seaweed things. That's going to get you on a pretty direct line to get to this. Sprinting doesn't actually work until you get over to the rocks where she starts speaking again. So she's just going to be walking for a bit. Then all of a sudden,
Hard for me to understand
I
how
can walk
this
again.
gate-
Or I can run again.
What happens?
And then you go in here. Go back in the water. Drop down. And you're going to do actual puzzles in this level, unfortunately. So this one, basically, once you get the, I don't know, Call of Duty Dark Matter skin in between these two corners, like right about here, then you press this left button.
Another panel of this strange technology.
Boink.
What's it for?
And now you can just kind of exit, get as close as you can to, like, the entrance, the whole thing, so that you can get inside as fast as possible. You can't really do anything to speed this bit up, but be prepared because this is a short one, and you're going to try and head left after you get to the end of it. God, I'm a sloppy coffee drinker. Okay, head left. And I like to spam shift so that as soon as it's possible, I will be sprinting. This is the out of bounds. That was really fast. Holy crap. So what you're going to do is you're going to aim just below this sort of amalgamation. I don't know what to call it. This little outcrop of rocks. You're basically going to be pushing left into this sort of wall here. And barely try and work your way down. If you go directly down, you'll get stuck on some rocks and you'll have to back out of it a little bit, and it loses a lot of time. And by a lot, I mean like a second, but it's really depressing. So go over this bit of rocks here, and you're just going to go vaguely diagonally right. It's really loose, actually. But so long as you're in this sort of area and you can see this sort of white squiggle. Some may call it, what would they call it? Glare, maybe? I don't know what it is. Highlight. This all basically is an invisible wall, so don't touch it, but be kind of near it. So swim on the right side of it and take this path. Like I said, it's vaguely diagonal. You might hit an invisible wall here because you're an idiot. Boink. That was me hitting an invisible wall because I'm an idiot. I'm never going to call you an idiot. You were just unlucky. That's all. But me, I was an idiot. So now you're going to go over here. You can either go to the left or the right of this pillar. But what you want to do is squeeze into this tiny gap here. Very tiny. And you're going to head down. And you're looking for this section here. So this is going to be yet another spot where you can go through some rocks. Except you have to sort of snake your way across on the surface of this. So make sure you're pushing down. Well, you don't really push anywhere. Make sure you're angling your camera down while you go forward. Because if it tries to pop you up, there's a very real possibility that you'll just be on the outside instead of the inside. And it'll just slide you up along the wall. And you won't actually be going where you're supposed to be going, you know, through the rocks. So make sure you slither your way sort of this way and then go up. And it's going to pop you back in bounds. There's an invisible wall here, which is why I'm going so high and a little bit to the right. You go over that, and then you click on the pedestal, and that puts you back in bounds. So now you're actually in a location where the rest of the map is going to render. Now, theoretically, it is possible, if you know the path, to swim your way to the end of the level, but if you try and interact with stuff, nothing is rendered, and you'll just fall out of the map. So the solution to this puzzle, by the way, is pretty much the same, but the difference is that this right here starts on the bottom, and so you need to click on it to put it to the top. But make sure you just, I'm going to show that again, make sure you have it so that not closer to the left corner this time, so you want it to sort of be on the left corner before you press the left straight line thing. It's going to be a lot less likelihood of it messing up if you wait a little bit longer in this regard. And then you're just going to sit through this cutscene. And I'm going to drink coffee. Oh, so as you come up to this, make sure you're holding forward and dragging your mouse up so that you can get up as soon as possible.
Quite a ride.
I did not do that. I think I was like not paying attention. But anyway, that's going to put you at the top. There's going to be some point in there where you can actually start like fast swimming, so I just like to tap shift a lot. Now the line that I take is just go left. There is a note to be made here. If you're on this third step, the invisible wall starts here, just like before in Chapter 3. There is an invisible wall on certain parts of the stairs, so make sure you're just going off of the second step and not the third one. And on these stairs, I believe the third one actually doesn't have an invisible wall, so you can go ahead and drop down off of the third one rather than the second one. You click on this, and once again, this is the rule of corners. So you'll notice once it hits this corner, so you start with this top one, click on it. Once it hits this corner, you click this one. Once this one hits this corner right here, you click this one. Once this one goes through and hits just before or at this corner, then you click this final one. And there's a solution. So wait. Click. Wait. Click. Wait for it. Click. And then you head over to the stairs and wait for her to start speaking. As soon as Nora starts speaking, you can load that autosave. And what that's going to do is it's just going to bring the boat directly over to you, and you can go ahead and get inside. One thing that I did learn, this is very funky. Where is her not in the boat? Close enough. So if you get inside and immediately try and go to the front of the boat, if you skirt around, the trigger for this is actually somewhere in the middle of the boat, so you can't actually miss the trigger. So you'll just be flailing about in the boat like, dude, I just want to leave. And then you have to like find it somehow, like back into it or something. It's kind of weird. Just don't do that. Head towards the middle of the boat, like so. And then you wait. And you wait. And there's like a 10-second or like 10 to 15 seconds of black screen. It's consistent, I just don't know what it is. And then you're into Chapter 6. And then you have 2 minutes and 43 seconds of this. Where I very often just go on my phone and wait until I hear like the correct dialogue, which I don't even know what it is. Or I just glance over constantly. Shove yourself up into this corner. And then at 2 minutes and 43 seconds, this thing is going to open. And you can sort of wedge your way through. Like you could see me pushing against it, and I can actually go through while it's opening. You can't go through it, but like the hitbox proceeds with it. All right, into Chapter 6. So over here, there is a note that tells you exactly what you can do at the altar, which means when you interact with the altar, when you've read this note, you can go ahead and open the door and actually complete the blood transfusion, whatever. Slap your bloody hand on it. Call it a day. So you go ahead and interact with the altar here. Slice your hand open, not for the faint of heart. And then that's going to open. You're holding right all the meanwhile. And then you just go ahead and run over to the fish. Get the fish. It moves your spots or something. And then you go inside. Now, a lot of this, I will say, I'll let it play. A lot of this is just memorization. There's not really many puzzles in this level. It's really obnoxious. So I like to start with the left one, and there's a good reason for this, because these things right here, they need to roll into place. So I let them settle while I press the other ones so that I can then access this first one. So you click this middle left, and then you go over here, access this one, turn around, and it is the door number 3, I guess, if you're walking in. I don't know how to describe it, but this door. So, I do have some mnemonics that I can use for this, but it's really difficult to explain. And I threw away my piece of paper that has the information on it. So I'm just going to have to tell you. So good luck if you don't understand it. Because I'm also probably not going to use the mnemonics. So good luck.
Endless stairways.
So yeah, this is just stairs. You get your hand pierced, except in this instance, we're going to be waiting for the journal to update so that there's an autosave, and then we're going to go ahead and load that, because we want to reset the constellation buttons in the main room. Now, loading an autosave in every instance of this level is going to essentially just reset, and this was actually kind of important, so I'm going to go back. But reloading any sort of autosave in this level is going to reset those buttons so that none of them are pressed. And we use that so that we don't actually have to go back to specific buttons once we finish a section. So in this instance, we would have pressed 6 buttons in this next bit, but in this case, we're only pressing 5. So once you load this autosave right here, you load the autosave, and then you're going to be holding left and back basically as soon as your mouse disappears, left and back, and then hold back. And that's going to put you closer onto the stairs, and then you swerve to the right. It's a little bit difficult to get used to. I didn't mean to do that. It's a little bit difficult to get used to sort of how that flow goes, but basically the stairs are to your back left, and that's all that you need to know. Now, the thing that we're hitting is this one. So we go directly to this number 3 position, I guess. 1, 2, 3. Sure. And this, you're going to click on the 5th slot, which is our very newly gotten constellation on our hand. Click the 5th slot once more. Look over to the left here so that this door opens, or so that you're looking in that direction when the door opens. Whew, hold on. Speaking is hard. Then you interact with this and actually click the 4th slot, so it's actually 5, 5, 4. And then you go back through, and these two, you're going to click on the 5th slot, so that's 5 here. And then over here is going to be the 5th slot. And then look to the right so that you can watch this door open, so that your mouse doesn't have to move all that much. And then you can go ahead and turn around and enter the previously opened door. Now this is just stairs. You're actually just climbing stairs. And then you access this. Once again, wait for the autosave. We're going to be resetting the buttons here as well. Reset those buttons. And once again, we're holding it back in a direction, except instead of back left, this time it's back right. So hold S and D, and then for like half a second, and then go to just D, or sorry, just S, because the stairs really are not that far to the right. And you mostly want to have all of your direction going backwards. And then once you fade in, you can go ahead and turn around and drop down this bit here. For some reason, that's like the farthest drop you can do without any invisible walls. I don't know why they didn't place invisible walls there, but you can do it, so it's cool. And now we're going to slot number 2, like the second left one here. And this is going to be pressing the newly gotten symbol. So number 2 here. By the way, if I say number 2, what I mean is this is slot 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if I say pressing 2 is this one here. Except in this instance, we're clicking on this to press 4. So you're going to press 4 in this instance. So it's 2, 4, 2 here. So this one's going to be 2 then. And walk backwards and stare at this door so that it opens, and then you turn around. And here is a puzzle. We all love puzzles here, don't we? So this first section, we're just going to be flipping all of the buttons because we're addicted to pressing buttons. And then you press the big orange circle-y one to activate it. Then you head over to the right where you've got the white gargoyle doggy dragon things to press. This time you start from the right side, click all 3 buttons, and then you click this farthest, most rightest one twice. So wait for it once and twice, and then you activate it, turn around, and go right on back to the start. So that's all the white ones in place. Now we got to just make our way over using the black gargoyles, which is once again just press all the buttons because we're button happy, activate them with the orange button, and then go on our merry way. So quite a difficult puzzle, very, very difficult solution. And we are just going to go collect the fish. Here we are. And now we don't actually save and load. So saving and loading was for the previous couple, and now we're completely done with that because we don't want to reset the buttons anymore. We've already gone through, and there's one of the buttons currently in place. We're going to place 2 more real quick once we get over there. And this is just backtracking. You just backtrack your way through. I like to take the left side because it's funnier. It's not funny at all, but it's more fun because you drop off of things. So now we're taking this one. This is going to be pressing the number 3 button. And then you skip this one, cut across over to this one, and press the 5 button. And now all but one of the constellation circle things has the correct placement, has the correct button placed down. So now we just need to go and collect this final long bar stick thing, constellation symbol, and we're going to go ahead and place that in its final slot. But this is literally just swimming. Like, this is not a puzzle. There's literally one puzzle in this entire level, and it's a freaking 17.5-minute level. Isn't that cool? There's one puzzle. Okay, to be fair, the puzzle is actually supposed to be the constellation symbols, but we know it, so it doesn't feel like these rooms do anything. Like, just put the symbol behind the anything. Alright, well, we got the long bar stick thing from the fish. You go swim, I guess. Hold forward and right so that you can sort of immediately start moving. Forward and to the right. Makes sense. And then we go over here to this circle thing, this disc. And the number 1 position, the reason why I've been calling it a bar stick thing is because look at that thing. You can't tell me that's not a long bar stick thing. You click on it, and you know the drill. Right click before you left click so that you're exiting the interaction so that you can move a little bit. Just gain a little bit of extra time, and it's going to open the door. And good God, this is going to be a lot of skipping. So, right here, you're going to head to the right. Because I don't know for sure, but I think I tested to the left. They actually do have an invisible wall on those stairs, which makes it a little bit awkward to jump down them. But in this instance, on the right side, they do not have invisible walls. So why not do that? Of course, if left is faster, might as well try left. But I like going to the right, so I'm never going to test it. And now we're going to just skip ahead because this is all just walking. You can't sprint anymore, so holding down the shift key is going to do literally 0 anything from here on out for the rest of the game. Once you drop down into this water, this is a cutscene. It's all cutscene. There's a fun little thing that you can do here. As soon as she said, "Oh, you left a lure to confuse me," you can actually hold left and swipe left. And what that's going to do is it's going to let you sort of move a little bit. And you go, whoop. So that's just a fun little thing. I don't think it saves any time, but it's fun. And now we activate this. It's literally a straight path. It looks all windy and confusing, but there's no puzzle here. It's just a recap of the game. So we're going to skip along a little bit. There is one thing that I want to make note of, which is right here, this step. You can actually get caught on it. So what you need to do is basically line yourself up so that you're sort of in between these 2 cracks here. Otherwise, you might actually get caught on the steps, and it's going to be a tragedy. So go up on those, in between those 2 cracks, and hopefully get up the steps. Now, beyond that, it's just more talking and walking and boring. Open the door, go inside, maybe get a lag spike, who knows. And then you get more talking. Bunch more talking. And I believe, I'm going to pause it here because I have something to say. I believe that I tested both directions and got within a second, but also I am infallible. That's not the right word. I'm imperfect. I'm a human. I don't know if my timing methods were exact, but I got within a second for both directions. That being said, if you go to the left side and reject Harry and accept your fate, that adds about a minute to the Chapter 6 split, However, it saves a minute on the ending split. So it just depends on how you want your golds, I guess. But either way is just about the same speed,
But I can't let you make a
approximately,
decision for me.
if my timing methods aren't awful.
Either I embrace
But I like to go to the right side, so we're going to go to the right side in this video.
leave you behind.
Once again, we're just sort of locked into her talking for freaking ever.
It's my decision.
It's my decision to make, and you just swipe whichever direction you know you want to go.
You
Click
are
on it.
that one.
She's going to keep speaking. And something to keep in mind, on the left side, if you accept your fate and reject Harry, you're going to be wanting to hold forward for a lot of this talking stuff, because opening the door doesn't actually start loading something. So like right now, she's like, oh, eternal life, something or other, I'm going home.
Choose the slow
This is actually going to just automatically switch to the next bit, and you don't actually have to hold a direction until you get into this next level. However, on the other side, you will have to hold a direction, because opening the door, you have to walk through it, and then you have to like walk down an entire winding path. So you do actually have to hold a direction, and all of the walking that comes from this level is like embedded into chapter 6. Anyway, now we're walking. Once again, sprinting doesn't work, so you can't actually sprint. We're walking, take tight lines, we're walking. Right here, there's like an invisible wall, like right here, so if you hit that, oopsies.
your hand that holds my
And this rock here also has, it's not an invisible wall, but it's a rock wall. So if you hit that, oopsies, go around it, I guess. And the ending trigger is somewhere in the middle here, and that's actually where you're going to like wave down the boat, the freight, or whatever it is. If you are like too far to the left or too far to the right or something, you can actually make your way far past this spot and go into the water. This is like a straight line here. So you're going to go into the water if you're too far to the left, and then start making your way over to the right side. And it just like takes forever, and then you lose like 4 seconds, and you're like, why did I lose 4 seconds? Well, that's why, because it's actually like in the middle here where the line actually is to hail it down. And now this is a cutscene. You're done with playing the game. Unfortunately, I have not found the ending sequence. I've not found the credits in the actual files of the game. Like, I don't know what the code is for that. I don't know how to split that automatically. So we do a manual split. And the location of that manual split is you wait for it until you see the picture frame. So as soon as you can see the picture, boom, split.
Okay, are you ready?
And that's the game.
1, 2, don't forget the harmony.
I hope my talking didn't suck, because I don't plan on watching this back, and I do not plan on editing
GG's.
this. Oh my god, it's me. Alright, GG's. That's Call of the Sea. Yeah, I hope that went well. We're just gonna upload this, probably throw it in unlisted, maybe chuck it onto the Call of the Sea page. Speedrun.com/Call of the Sea. And there should be a guides section here. There are no guides, but I can add a guide, and that's what I'm going to do. So that's probably where you're seeing this, if you are seeing this. If not, it's either unlisted or public. So if it's public on my channel, hello, welcome to my channel. This is the channel where I post random videos of speedruns and not actual content. If you're coming here for content, you've come to the wrong place. Hello, goodbye. I hope you enjoy running this game. GG's.